Hi students, it's Mr. Dore again here. I want to give you a question here which I think is very challenging, which is a question about character in Macbeth using an extract. If I just remind you of what we've done in previous videos, I'll just show you this again. We want to conceptualise and open up the question, read the extract, select some evidence, and then consider some counterpoints or some moments, some things that counterpoint the extract, to show knowledge of the whole play. I've done another video where I show you how to write your answer up, and there's a longer video on a question on Lady Macbeth which really picks out how you put an answer together. So I'm not going to put an answer together in this, I'm just going to show you a challenging question. So one thing you might want to do, remember the first thing you want to do is conceptualise the question, open up and give ourselves possibilities. So maybe one thing you want to do is pause the video now and have a go for a few minutes picking out maybe 3 or 4 main quotations from this extract which you think you could discuss in terms of how far Macbeth is presented as a villain, as a baddie, and then consider some other bits of the play. Your starting point, of course, is to conceptualise the question. If you have a go at all of that on your own now, pause the video and have a go at it, because what I'm going to take you through now is a little bit of a walkthrough for how you might do it. So it makes sense if you pause now and have a go yourself. Okay, right, moving on. To conceptualise that question about how Macbeth is presented as a villain, obviously we don't just want to think, well, Macbeth is a villain the whole time, because he isn't. It's more nuanced, it's more subtle, it's more complicated than that. And if you want a decent mark, when you're writing about Macbeth, you need to understand some of the complexities in it. That isn't just that Macbeth is a baddie the whole way through. He isn't. So here's a conceptualisation of the question that might be useful. Okay, so we've got the idea of someone who's manipulative versus someone who's manipulated. So what I mean by that is someone who basically he makes other people do things, or is actually made to do things by other people. So he's manipulated by the witches, he's manipulative of many people around, he's manipulated by Lady Macbeth, but he's manipulative of many other people around himself, isn't he? We've also got the idea of aggressor versus victim. When is Macbeth actually going out of his way to be aggressive, or when he's actually a victim of someone else's villainy? We've also got the idea here of heroic soldier versus cruel tyrant. Tyrant as in, a baddie, power-mad baddie. He kills in the name of the king, which is celebrated, but of course the other killings he does in the play are tyrannical. We've also got this idea of where is he guilty and weak versus where is he callous. That means like cold-hearted, cruel. Where is he callous and arrogant? And we've also got the main idea here of what is Macbeth really? What is he like on the inside versus how does he disguise it to other people? Remember, even though he's killed the king and even though he's ordered the death of Banquo but Fleance escaped, people still call him Noble Macbeth. So there's an idea of him cloaking himself and hiding what he really is away from other people. So some good ideas there. I'm going to take you through this extract really quickly. It's from the end of the play, virtually. Macbeth's final moments where Macduff comes to exact some revenge for Scotland and for his own family, of course. So we've got Act 5, Scene 8, another part of the field, enter Macbeth. Let's quickly go through this. Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword? Whilst I see lives, the gashes do better upon them. Easily translated there, what he's saying is, I'm not going to fall on my own sword and commit suicide like an idiot in an ancient play from Greek or Roman times. It'll be fun to watch him basically stab me, because I can see him stabbing me, and actually it's fine to be stabbed because it'll be a war wound. It'll be a wound that I can be proud of because I'm immortal and tough. So he's quite willing to stand there and have a fight to the death with Macbeth, with Macduff. But Macbeth thinks that he is immortal, so he sees no danger in fighting him. Okay, enter Macduff. Turn, hellhound, turn. Of all men else I've avoided thee, but get thee back. My soul is too much charged with blood of thine already. I have no words, my voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out. Interesting, thou, talking down to him even though he's king. They have a fight. In some full versions that fight goes on quite a while. Thou losest labour, you're wasting your time fighting me. As easy mayst thou the intrenchant air with thy keen sword impresses make me bleed. You may as well stab thin air because you can't hurt me. Let fall I've laid on vulnerable crests, I bear a charmed life which must not yield to one of woman born. Okay. Re-emphasise one of the witch's prophecies there. Macduff, despair thy charm and let the angel whom thou hast served tell thee. Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. So born by caesarean section. We've got ambiguity as a method there clearly because he's been tricked by the witches. It's wordplay really, isn't it, rather than a promise. Okay, Macbeth's final speech here. Accursed be that tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man, and be these juggling fiends no more believed that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee. Maybe a bit of a hint there that maybe he's realised something. We want a couple of quotations from here. Let's have a think about some methods that we could actually use. Just to remind you, looking at those sorts of methods. Okay? I remember looking for where he's not necessarily just presented as a villain, where it's a little bit more complicated than that, so we can actually get an argument going. So one of the quotations that jumps out to me, my soul is too much charged with blood of thine already, that section there. Now, the method is symbolism, isn't it? His soul is charged with blood. It's also metaphorical, because his soul isn't dipped in blood, is it? It's a metaphor. But it's symbolic of his guilt. Now, you could say, on the first hand, that he's showing Macduff some pity. He's saying, well, I've killed enough of your family, I don't need your blood as well, go away. Or he could actually be showing an element of guilt there by saying, I've killed too many Macduffs, there's too much Macduff blood on me already, because he talks about his soul. So it's not necessarily the idea that he's thinking, I've killed and I'll kill again. It's almost as if he's thinking, well, I shouldn't kill you. But it's ambiguous, isn't it? So the methods we've got there, we've got a metaphor, we've got symbolism, we've got ambiguity. So a really good idea to understand that, because it's quite complicated. Okay, let's think of some other quotations we can pick from here. Okay. He says to Macduff that I bear a charmed life. Okay. I'd say that's ambiguity as a method, really. Think about what you could pick out of the word charmed, under a spell, being manipulated, being lied to, being protected. In lots of ways, Macbeth is a fool here, isn't he, in what he believes. But in many ways, not only is he an aggressor, but he's also a victim. So some complex ideas around that as well. Okay. And then if we go down to I'll not fight with thee, and we start thinking about what potentially is going on there. Okay, we've got some dramatic irony there, haven't we? That's the main method, I think, there. There's other methods, but let's just name one and work with it. So dramatic irony. Remember, he was told by the witch's prophecies on his second visit to get more information, beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. So this idea of I'll not fight with thee is dramatically ironic because he was warned about Macduff the whole time. So there's three quotations that can be used. If you want to have a counterpoint to that in the extract, of course, what you could potentially look at is this idea here that he says there, why should I play the Roman fool? So sort of like symbolism, talking about himself as though he's far more than just some comic figure or a tragic figure. He's actually a hero, and heroes don't commit suicide. So we've got a few ideas. In his own head, he's heroic. So we've got a few ideas there. Now, if you want some other bits of the play for this to go with, here are some other relevant moments that you might want to consider. Consider that when he's feeling excessively guilty after he's just committed regicide of King Duncan, he says, when he's ordered by Lady Macbeth to go take the daggers back upstairs, he says, look upon it, I dare not. So he doesn't want to go back and see what he's done. And then he speaks about himself in the third person, Macbeth hath murdered sleep. Okay? So that obviously shows him as a guilty character. Yes, he's been cruel in his actions, but his actions consume him. What we've also got, when he's about to have the Banquo killed and obviously Fleance escapes, but there's an attempted murder there. He says to his wife, "There'll be done a deed of dreadful note." You notice there we've got some euphemism there. So you might think, oh yeah, Macbeth's being really cruel, but he still can't name what it is that he's doing. Maybe he don't need to name it to Lady Macbeth. Maybe he's cruel enough. But there's also an element of guilt within that. And then if you want to go right back to the start of the play, when he says to his wife, "We'll proceed no further in this business," even before the regicide, really showing there that he doesn't want a part of this, but he's manipulated into it. And if you want something else to link it to, of course he's manipulated by the witches when he goes back to speak to them and they only give him some vague, ambiguous information. He says, "Answer me, I charge you," and they disappear into thin air. So there's quite a complex, difficult question, a way into the concepts and a way to link it to other bits of the play. Okay. Take care of yourselves. Speak soon. Bye-bye.